There we
go.
go. Whoa. That was loud. What in tarnation? Well, it's Friday night. It's like 9 o'clock.
Trunk is locked.
We were gonna put a gas tank in this here unit, but we didn't really get much done tonight.
There we go. You gotta find the right key. Oh.
That's alright.
Fine.
There's the gas tank.
That, my friends, is our brand new gas tank. Brand new high pressure fuel pump.
From Rock Auto.
Obviously, where else do you buy parts?
The best.
All we gotta do is zip, zap, patty whack, drop this tank out, put this tank in. One and done.
We were hoping to have this like done by now. But as it goes,
yeah, you know how it goes.
you get to talking and not much happens.
Flapping your lips, next thing you know.
But we pulled this thing in out of the rain. Had to sit outside for a while someone's Ford was in here being worked on, but it's back and it's home. Looking fresh.
It's raining. You gotta keep the horses in the barn.
Looking clean. Not really. Pretty dirty. Speaking of clean looking, the CB antenna. That is mint.
Sucker's fresh.
That's gonna get the reception for miles.
This right here tells you how to do everything.
This is where Brant gains all of his knowledge.
Yep. This right here. The left one is a new one. The right one is a worn Phillips screwdriver. You do not want a worn Phillips screwdriver. We got punches, we got hacksaws. We do use quite a bit of hacksaws and sawzalls. So I think this book came out before sawzalls were a thing. But we've got vice grips. You know, if you're persistent and careful, most fasteners can be removed with a vice grips. So that's the only page I read.
That's all you need to know, really.
All you need to know, really, yeah. It's pretty simple. We got our fine, clean work environment here.
Yes.
I don't know where that hose could have gone because everything is very organized around here.
Well, you put the fuel line here, so you would think it'd be in the general vicinity of where the fuel line is. This is the fuel line we are going with. What exactly is this? Just standard garden hose?
Yeah, pretty much. This, my friends, is a 400 series hose. This right here is a 1/2-inch hose.
Is that good for E85?
It said in the book it is good for E85 and some for other fuel that I'm not sure what it was.
Do we have hose clamps?
So, we have zip ties, so that should, I'd imagine, hold 80 psi.
It's a lot bigger than that. What is that?
This
is
is some
barbed adapter.
This is some 3/8
oh,
high pressure
and then
hose.
your 1/2-inch goes on there.
To 1/2-inch, slide that one. This fancy little doohickey right here.
That looks like a nightmare.
That goes onto your fuel rail right there.
That's a nightmare.
And then
waiting to happen.
One of these and one of those, and you're good to go.
You think a fella would have bought hose clamps?
I think we have hose clamps.
I
hope so, anyway.
We're gonna need some good hose clamps for this.
You would imagine so.
Can't be putting this together with no hose clamps.
Yeah, not so much. Unless you want fuel everywhere.
So, this one's for on the gas tank.
Yeah. So, I got one piece of hose that we need to cut in half.
So, in case anyone was wondering about this here, this is out of the newer Gbody that was fuel injected, the tank. So it is baffled. And this is just a stock fuel pump from a newer fuel injected Gbody, which probably won't be enough to run this V8.
Probably not, but we're fingers crossed that we don't have to pull the tank out again instantly before we can run it.
Probably gonna have to pull the tank out instantly before we can run it.
There's a good chance. So what we're gonna do here...
But we're not very smart. Never claimed to be.
Nope, never claimed to be. So we're gonna take this 6-inch piece of hose, make 2 pieces of hose. We're gonna put that one into there. So this one,
I'm supposed to know what you're talking about, but even I'm confused.
This one here goes on the fuel rail in the engine.
And then
to our 1/2 inch.
1/2 inch. So why are we using 1/2 inch if it necks down to 3/8?
because your fuel rails are still 3/8. So when you get them big old billet fuel rails that have a 1/2 inch hole in them, you just take this and put a fitting in there and clip it right on.
So in other words, with the stock fuel rails, this isn't really helping us any, but
Not
it's
really.
for future.
It's for future, you know,
Gotcha.
big horsepower E85 when this sucker's making 450 to the tire. So we got to push these together.
You're telling me a stock 5.3 won't make 450 to the tire?
Well, maybe on E85, big turbos, you know.
I only run non-ethanol in my cars.
Well, that's a good thing.
It's better for the environment.
Not about that corn gas.
I don't know about that life. I put that in my weed whacker, screwed up the carburetor. Don't want that to happen to this.
You ran E85 in your weed whacker.
No, I didn't. But
They say it makes more power.
I'm
Who
getting in the
knows?
mind of the fellers that this era fellers. By the way, I got bit by a dog today.
Yeah, here, you fellas check this out. This guy is out doing his duty jobs. Absolutely got wrecked by some. What for dog was it?
It was a Bernese mountain dog.
Yeah.
Big fluffy dog. It didn't look mean, but it was mean.
It
turns out.
It apparently was pretty mean.
So what all do we need to do to this before we start going under the car? We should filler neck. That comes out down there.
I'm thinking we'll probably drop out the old fuel cell, fuel tank, whatever you want to call it. Figure out what pieces we need to transfer onto this one. And then we'll kind of hold it up there and figure out where the hoses will be run. And, you know,
so we're
using one thing at a time.
Using the stock fuel line for the return. Is that correct?
So, yeah. So the stock supply line for the V6 is, I believe might be 3/8. I'm not sure. Either way,
Probably.
it'll be big enough to return all our fuel.
Because this car was originally carbureted, so it only had one fuel line.
Right.
Didn't have a return.
Use your one main fuel line going up as your return, and then you run yourself a good, nice, 1/2 inch feed, and then 3/8 return line. So that should get us where we're going. According to the internet peoples, it's like 1,000 horsepower or something on E85 or something. I don't know.
And if you have a lot of money just floating around and want to do fancy stuff, a lot of people use AN.
Yeah, you pay another $3 a foot for fancy aluminum braided, whatever that is,
Plus
stainless steel.
All the fittings.
Plus, yeah, then you have your fancy fittings. But we're not at that level of high horsepowers yet, so that'll be down the road.
This should do the trick, I reckon.
Oh, yeah. So we'll find ourselves some hose clamps, and we'll get back at you when we're dropping the tank out. Well, we are back underneath the car. It is time to remove the fuel tank straps. We got one here, one here. The back is hinged. The front got a bolt running up in. Get ready to do a little loosening on this one. So that one is out.
Trying to remember how much fuel's in this thing. I think it might be... Oh, it's pretty empty.
Actually feels like it's plumb empty. There's one of the bolts. Oh, I bet that's why it wasn't running right.
That's why it
in it
started knocking.
Yeah. Okay, now, put your knee there. Pull that out.
And now
I
it's
feel there's quite a lot of gas in it, actually, or something.
hanging on the filler neck.
Well, the fill neck ain't connected on these old cars. Now you just want to very carefully, like that.
Just let it squish you. What? There's like mufflers and pipes and...
Oh, we got to get rid of that.
Strange
Nobody wants that.
exhaust.
I like you see their old-fashioned exhaust hanger. It's just like a piece of rubber wrapped around look at that thing.
I have questions for you, Brant.
What?
Why is there 3 lines running into that tank if it didn't have a return?
I don't know. Maybe it did have a return.
It kind of looks like there's like 3 lines.
Possibly. Who knows? If there wasn't a return, we're going to yank it out.
I guess that one wire is just for the fuel pump.
This is the gauge.
That's the gauge, yeah.
The gauge. So
maybe there's like a return from the fuel pump. Okay, I don't know how these work.
I didn't look at it close enough. That motor blew up so fast.
Okay.
Worth looking at.
Well,
now, let me roll on out of here.
You don't need them rubber fuel lines.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
it.
There we go.
And that's how you remove your gas tank in
like that.
one easy step.
Yep.
It's about a 3-minute job.
It really is. It's not.
Why is that shock so blue? Is that spray painted or is that actually a newer shock?
That one looks fairly new. That one is blue, but it doesn't seem fairly new.
It looks like it was painted. Interesting.
It was Vice Grip Garage restored with some spray paint.
Powder coated.
Yes.
At least you had AAA for when the shock blew out.
Oh yeah.
Alrighty. Well, what are we working with here? The tanks look kind of the same. Kinda-ish. Yeah.
Somewhat sort of similar.
Yeah.
So that's always a plus.
Yes. Now, what? We need to see if we can remove the filler neck, because I did not get a filler neck for that tank, because Rock Auto, $40 gas tank.
So let's see.
So I don't know if you can remove that. It looks suspiciously permanent.
It does seem rather permanent. Gentle massaging is the key.
There we go. That seems pretty solid.
Seems fairly solid.
That seems to be part of the gas tank.
Yeah, I don't know that that's coming off, so we're going to have to do some fabricating skills on that.
So whoever ordered the parts, this guy, bought this tank for an 87 Monte Carlo because it's baffled, and I figured the filler necks would be the same because Gbody, but
Nope.
of course not.
So
Kind of attached, and the proper filler necks are out of stock everywhere. Unobtainium.
yep, on obtainium. So time to do some backyard hooligan stuff here.
I reckon.
We're going to
That's
safely
our option.
remove.
Look
Safely
at the
removed.
precision on that machine.
Oh yeah.
That's clean.
Almost sort of fairly kind of close. Now we just smuts that fast to the new tank.
Flex seal.
Flex seal.
It is kind of a cool design. I like how they're attached to the tank, and then you don't gotta like unhook it and stuff.
It's
it just sticks there.
We'll say it got the Fox body beat on that one. You don't have to undo screws and pull
Handy
out rubber
dandy
pipes
if you
and-
knew that's how it was before you bought tanks and stuff.
Yeah, something like that. So we'll clean this up real good and figure out a way to kind of get that sucker fastened to the tank.
Problem is it's gotta like
Professional
not
ways.
leak.
Yeah, so there may be weld and JB weld involved, but both are weld. So
Weld, JB weld equals
Flex seal equals sealed tank.
certified.
Certified.
Make sure when you're welding on gas tanks that it has not ever had gas in it, by the way.
That is a good rule of thumb. It's almost as good as using electrical heat shrink connectors to fix your busted
That is a beautiful extension
iron
cord. That's top quality. If you walk into an auto repair shop and see that, you know you're in for a quality repair.
Yep.
And if their bench grinder just starts walking off the bench,
A little cleanup time.
Mindy fresh. I think it went out.
Alright. Oh.
So, make sure you weld near an open gas tank. A lone spark somehow yeeted itself right into there
Right after it about burned a hole through my finger.
and went.
Not good. That's
You don't need to worry about that though. That's normal.
open the door and shove it out, or else dump it out over on the floor there.
Well, that's good gas in there. That's the good stuff. That's expensive.
Well, we got the fuel tank in. I ran the lines up the side of the frames. Got this one coming up here. And then we used the factory 3/8 feed line for the return. So we're finishing up some of the little things, and when we put the intake on, we'll hook those hoses up. And I do have to hook the wire up for the pump yet. But other than that, fuel tank is back in.
Fancy heater hoses hooked up.
Yep, we got heater hoses on. We got the gear shifter working.
Oh yeah.
Got the transmotion coolage lines plumbed in. Slowly coming along. We got a little surprise for the next video that we're gonna show y'all here. Costs more than the car but
this is actually about the same price as the car. This part.
Price as the car for the one little key part. So
yeah, we're
plugging along pretty much.
Pretty much getting down to the digicals.
Yeah, and the fuel tank, we got a nice coating of JB weld over that welded bung there, so it'll be
factory
perfect. It's not going to leak a smidge. So thanks for watching. In case you were wondering how to install a fuel tank probably not the correct way in your old Pontiac, there you go.
Yay! Not sure what the point of this is. Entertainment.